Hi guys, this is Sadek from Dwebin.com, and in this video, we'll show you how to flash the latest LineageOS 20 ROM based on Android 13 using Fastboot command. So earlier I have made a video and a guide on how you could flash the GSI ROM using the DSU sideloader app. There is just one issue with this app. In this case, the app is able to flash the GSI ROM, but it flashes the GSI ROM to the second system partition. The first system partition will already have your base firmware. So at the time of flashing, you will be having two ROMs subsequently installed onto your phone. In other words, your phone will have dual boot. So if you want to dual boot your Android phone, it's well and good. But in my case, I only want to have one single firmware or one single ROM at a time because it will end up exhausting system resources. So I only want to run one single ROM. I don't want to do a dual boot. So if you also echo the same thought process, then you should ignore this DSU sideloader app and instead opt for the fastboot command method. When it comes to fastboot commands, we will be we will wipe off the entire system partition, and we will then only install the GSI ROM, which is the LineageOS ROM, and there will be no other ROM. Only LineageOS ROM will be there onto your phone, and we will first wipe the system partition and then flash that ROM. So with that said, the process will wipe off all the data from your phone. So make sure to take a backup beforehand, and then let's get started. The steps are applicable across all the Project Treble phones. So let's first verify if our phone is Project Treble supported or not. Near about every phone which comes with Android 8 or higher version should support Project Treble. But still, let's verify the same. For that, you could install the Treble Check app from Play Store, then launch it, and as you could see, it's Project Treble supported. So our phone is supported, and I guess nowadays near about all the phones should be Project Treble supported. So if your phone is supported, you could now proceed ahead with the flashing steps. So first and foremost, you have to install Android SDK platform tools. This is the official ADB binary given by Google and is required to execute ADB command. So download it from the link given in my guide and extract them onto your PC. You could extract them anywhere you want. I have done the extraction in E drive, and you could see these are the files of the platform tools folder. Once that is done, you have to enable the USB debugging and OEM unlocking. So for that, you have to go to the settings menu, then go to about phone, and now you have to tap on build number or MIUI version 7 times. MIUI version is for the Xiaomi, Poco and Redmi phones. For rest of the phone, you have to tap on build number 7 times. With this, you have enabled developer option. So go to system, and then you should now see developer option. Go there and enable the toggle next to OEM unlocking as well as USB debugging. Once you enable the prompt on some phone, especially the Xiaomi, the Redmi and the Poco, you might get a prompt. So tap on checkmark, I am aware of all the risk, and then tap on OK. And now you might get an RSA key fingerprint prompt. Tap on OK. With this, debugging is now enabled. So let's now verify the debugging connection. So go to platform tools folder, type in CMD in the address bar and hit enter. This will launch the command prompt window inside platform tools folder, as you could see. Now type in ADB devices and hit enter, and make sure that you are getting a serial ID. If you are not getting any ID, then unplug and replug your phone from the PC, disable and re-enable USB debugging, tap on revoke USB debugging, use the official cable that came with your phone, and use the USB 2.0 port on your PC. So carry out this USB tweaks and make sure that you are getting the serial ID. Once you are getting this ID, let's now proceed ahead and carry out the next step. So next step, you now have to unlock the bootloader on your phone. So make sure you have re-enabled OEM unlocking. Once that is done, do note that unlocking the bootloader will wipe off all the data on your phone, and on some phones, it might also make the warranty null and void. So if that's well and good, you could refer to my guide to unlock the bootloader. In most Android phones, all you have to do is simply boot your phone to fastboot mode. I'll show you how to do that. And once you are in the fastboot mode, you just have to execute either the fastboot flashing unlock or the fastboot OEM unlock command. Once you execute any of these two commands, you will get a prompt on your phone. So use the volume key to bring up the unlock the bootloader and hit the power key to confirm. Your phone will undergo a reset and the bootloader will be unlocked. However, in case of Xiaomi, Poco and Redmi, you will have to make use of the Mi Unlock tool, and you'll also have to wait for 7 days, and only after that you could unlock the bootloader. So with that said, once you have unlocked the bootloader, then you have to re-enable USB debugging. So make sure to re-enable USB debugging after unlocking the bootloader, and once that is done, you will now have to download the GSI ROM. So you could grab hold of the ROM file from here. So regarding the ROM file, there is one important thing that I would like to discuss. So as you could see, the naming convention of this ROM. So we could understand the naming from here. So first off is the CPU architecture. Regarding this, most of the phone of which are launched in a year back or around 2-3 years, in short, most of the today's phone are ARM 64-bit. But wait, let's verify the same. So for verification, you could use that same app itself. So just launch the Treble check app and check out the section next to CPU architecture. As you could see, it's 64-bit ARM. So in our case, the first one is the ARM 64. Next up is the A or B. Most of today's phone should be B. B means AB partition. And most of the phone is system as root, and it should also be given in this app as well. So as you can see from this app, is system as root, and system as root stands for AB. So with this, the naming is ARM64. Then it's the B, where B stands for AB. Then we have the V and G. V is the vanilla and G is the G apps. In vanilla, there is no G apps. So in my case, I'll be using the G apps build because I want Google Apps. So I'm using the G build. Next up is the N or S. In N, there is no super user, whereas in S, there is built-in PHS super user, which is used for rooting. So generally, I would prefer to use the no super user, and then we could root our phone later on after installing the GSI file via Magisk. If you want, you may use the S version, but I would recommend you to go with the N version. So as of now, let's just go ahead with this. So, and regarding the last one, VNDK Lite, secure and personal. In personal, there are some personal mods of the developer, so let's ignore that. Then secure is for the super user removed and system props moved. So if you are into rooting and passing safety net test, you could use this mod, but still I will not use this. What I generally do is I use the N method, which does not come with any root. Then I manually do a rooting via Magisk, and then I manually pass the safety net test. If you want, you may try out the secure version, but I usually do so manually. Let me show you, I made a guide on that as well. So by flashing the safety net fix module and removing the data of the Google Play Service apps, so usually I choose either the VNDK Lite or none of these three. So you could either choose the VNDK Lite version or none of these three. As of now, I simply ignoring these three. I will be just be going with the ARM64 BGN version. You could choose ARM64 BGN VNDK Lite, but as of now, I am just using the ARM64 BGN. So let me show you ARM64 BGN, either this file or ARM64 BGN VNDK Lite. So you could also verify the VNDK from here. Let me show you. So as you could see, it's the VNDK Lite. VNDK is also bundled alongside it. So your phone supports VNDK. So it might also support VNDK Lite. But as of now, I am simply ignoring this. I am not going with any of these three. So I'm simply ignoring this parameter, and I am going with ARM64 BGN. So I have downloaded this ARM64 BGN. So once you have downloaded the ROM file, it will be something in this format. Let me show you once. So just a minute. The ROM file will be in a .xz format. So to extract this file, you will have to use 7-zip. WinZip or WinRAR might not be able to extract it. So install the 7-zip software, then right click on it and choose show more option, then choose 7-zip and select extract to lineage.img. With this, you will get the img file. Now you have to transfer this img file. Let me show you. Just a minute. With this, you will get the img file in this folder. As you could see, I have got this img file, the BGN version. So now you have to transfer this img file inside the platform tools folder on your PC. As you could see, this is the LineageOS system.img file of the BGN version, where B stands for AB, G is for Google App, and N is for no super user, there is no root, and ARM64 is the CPU architecture. So make sure to transfer the GSI file inside the platform tools folder on your PC. Once that is done, our next course of action is to download the vbmeta file. So you will have to download the vbmeta from the stock firmware which is currently installed onto your phone. Make sure to download the same firmware which is currently there on your phone. You could verify the same from the about phone section or the build number section. For example, in my case, currently I am using a custom ROM, which is the Xiaomi EU ROM, and as you could see, the version is 14.0. 0.23.5.15. So I will be downloading the same stock firmware. As you could see, this is the same stock firmware 14.0.23.5.15 developer version. So make sure to download the exact same firmware which is there on your phone. Now in most cases, such as the case of Xiaomi, Redmi, Poco, or in case of Pixel, in all these firmwares you will get the firmware in a zip format. So you could simply extract it via WinZip, WinRAR, or 7-zip. Upon extraction, there will be an images folder, and there you will get the vbmeta.img file. So this is the case for Xiaomi, Redmi, and Poco. In case of Pixel as well. In case of Pixel, make sure to download the factory image and not the OTA image. So download the factory image, extract it, then extract the image folder, and then you will get the vbmeta file from here. You could simply copy it. So in case of Xiaomi, Redmi, and Poco, download the fastboot image and not the recovery image, whereas in case of Pixel you could download the factory image. So in any both of these phones, the major benefit is that they are just in a zip format. You could easily extract them. But in the case of OnePlus phones, the firmware is in a zip format, but upon extraction all the partition file are inside the payload.bin file. So you will now have to extract the payload.bin file. For extracting payload.bin, you could use the Fastboot Enhance tool. I have linked this tool in my guide. You could refer to my guide, and now make sure to copy the payload.bin file from the firmware and paste it inside the Fastboot Enhance folder. As you could see, now launch the Fastboot Enhance tool and then go to the payload dumper tab, hit the browse button. Now select the payload.bin and click on open. It will now load the payload.bin file. Now go to the partition tab, then it will bring up all the partition. Just select the vbmeta and click on extract image, choose the location and click on OK. I have chosen desktop, so as you could see, we should have now got the image in the desktop. So as you could see, we have got the vbmeta file over here. So in case of OnePlus, you could use the Fastboot Enhance tool. Just keep in mind, whichever ROM you are downloading, it should be of the same version which is installed onto your phone. And once you have extracted the vbmeta.img file, you will have to transfer that file inside the platform tools folder on your PC. So as of now, the GSI ROM as well as the vbmeta file, both of them should be inside the platform tools folder, and both of them should be in the img format. So once that is done, your next course of action is to boot your phone to fastboot mode. So make sure that USB debugging is enabled, and now simply open CMD window inside platform tools folder and type in adb reboot bootloader and hit enter, and your phone should now boot to the fastboot mode. It will take around 6 to 7 seconds, and the fastboot screen might vary depending on the phone that you are using. Currently I am using a Poco F4, so the screen will be somewhat different. As you could see, this is the fastboot screen in case of Poco. It might be different in case of OnePlus, Pixel, and all other OEMs. That is not a cause of any concern. You just have to type in fastboot devices and hit enter, and make sure that you are getting a serial ID. If you are not getting a serial ID, then you will have to install fastboot drivers. I have made a guide on the same. You could refer to my guide and install the fastboot drivers. Likewise, use the Windows X shortcut keys and choose device manager. Now you have to expand the Android phone section and make sure your phone is being shown as Android bootloader interface, as you could see from here. So this, as well as the serial ID, signifies that your PC is able to read the phone in fastboot mode, and you could now proceed ahead. So next up, our next course of action is to disable the Verity check by flashing the vbmeta.img file. So just copy this entire command and make sure, just a minute, let me copy it, and make sure that the vbmeta file is there inside the platform tool folder. If that's well and good, open CMD window over here, simply paste the command and hit enter, and with this the verification of Verity check has been disabled, and we could now proceed ahead and flash an GSI image file. So as of now, we will have to make some space for the system.img because the GSI ROM files are generally somewhat larger in size. So we will first and foremost have to make some space. For that, we will have to remove the one of the partitions on our phone. But before that, we'll have to boot our phone to FastbootD mode. So just copy this command and we will now boot our phone to FastbootD mode. As before, do note that the screen might vary. The ROM that I'm currently using has TWRP recovery inbuilt. So in my case, the FastbootD mode will be taken care of by the RP recovery. This screen might be different for you, and as you could see, we are getting the fastboot. By fastboot, we actually mean FastbootD. In case of bootloader means fastboot, and by fastboot we mean FastbootD. So as you could see, currently showing fastboot, but actually we are in the FastbootD mode. So fastboot signifies FastbootD, whereas bootloader signifies fastboot mode. So that is why we have input over here fastboot, and our phone has booted to FastbootD mode. And in case of Pixel, you could see this is the FastbootD mode. This screen might vary. That is not a cause of concern. And now we have to remove the product partition so as to make some space for the GSI file. So simply copy this entire command. So let's copy this command and now paste this command in the CMD window and hit enter. The product A partition has now been removed from our phone, and with this we have got some space to flash the GSI ROM, or in other words to flash the system.img file. So once that is done, we could now flash the system.img file from here. So for the ease of convenience, let's rename the ROM file to something shorter. So let's just rename it to system so that the complete name becomes system.img. Once that is done, you could now simply copy this entire command from here. So copy this command and simply execute the command in the CMD window. So paste this command and hit enter, and the flashing will now begin. Do note that while flashing any GSI file, you will always get this error message of invalid sparse file format at header magic. This is not a cause of concern. You should simply ignore this error message. It's not an issue. Simply ignore it and wait for the flashing to complete. The flashing usually takes around 5 to 6 minutes. In some cases, or in rare cases rather, it might even take up to 30 minutes. It's not a cause of concern. Don't interact with your phone while the flashing is going on. And once the flashing is complete, we could then boot our phone to the OS and then proceed ahead. So as of now, it's resizing the system A partition, then it will flash the partition, and the entire process could take up to 5 to 6 minutes. So as you could see, there are a total of 11 sub partition of the system partition. So it will now flash each of this partition, and the process will take around 5 minutes. So while this is going on, I have also made a separate video on how you could root the GSI ROM. So if you have not downloaded this ROM, so in my case, since I've used the N version which does not come with super user, so we will have to manually root the GSI ROM. So I have made a guide and a video on the same. Let me just refresh this guide and the video should appear. Just a minute. So this is the video. You could refer to my video or the guide, and then we could root the GSI ROM as well. Or if you want, you could already use the S build. The S build comes with the PHH super user, though you will need to have the app installed beforehand. So I generally use the N version, and over here I don't use any of these three parameters. I simply ignore this parameter. If you are planning to use any of these three parameters, then go with the VNDK Lite version. Though I am not using any of these three, I simply use the ARM64 architecture. The B version which signifies AB partition. As you could see, system as root. Then the G is with Google app packages, and then the N. And from here I have skipped all these three parameters, and simply I have downloaded the ROM file. And just a minute, let me first verify. So it has flashed the 11. So as you could see, the flashing has now indeed been completed. So we could now, you will now have to do a format data. Do note that this will wipe off all the data from your phone. So for doing a format data, simply you have to execute the fastboot space -w command. So just execute this command here, fastboot space -w, and hit enter, and your phone will undergo a format, and it will take only a few seconds. All these messages are just normal, nothing to worry about. Simply ignore them. Once you have done a format data, you could now reboot your phone to the newly flashed GSI ROM. For that just type in fastboot space reboot and hit enter, and your phone should now boot to the LineageOS GSI ROM. Do note that the first boot up might take up a few additional seconds. That's completely normal and nothing to worry about. Moreover, in our case, we have flashed in my case rather, I have flashed the GSI ROM which comes inbuilt with the Google app and packages. So it will also load all the G app packages. So that might take a few additional seconds as well. That's also not a cause of concern. So let's just wait for the time frame and then we'll proceed ahead. So as of now, as you could see, it's the LineageOS boot animation, and the first boot up could take up to a minute as well. is completely normal and nothing to worry about. So let's just wait for the phone to boot up, and then I'll skip the initial setup screen. So our phone is now boot up, and let me quickly go through the setup screen and skip the initial process as well. So it will take only a few seconds. So let me skip all these stuffs and let's skip this as well, and let's start our phone. So as you could see, our phone has now booted to the OS, and this is the LineageOS GSI ROM. As you might be aware, LineageOS has its own set of apps as well. The clock app, the audio effects, the browser, calculator, all are its own inbuilt apps. Anyway, let's now access the settings menu from here. And as you could see, this is the GSI ROM. We could go to about device section, and you could verify the same as well from here. So this is the build number. As you could see, LineageOS ARM64 BGN, which we have flashed, and this is the ARM64 BGN version, as you could see from here. And this is the Easter egg, and this is the Android version 13, as you could verify from here. And it will have all the features that you get on the official LineageOS custom ROM will be present there in this GSI ROM as well. So guys, on that note, I round off this video. If you have any queries, do let me know in the comment section. And guys, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more tips and tricks. Thanks a lot for watching.